Flashback 2012. Where were you? Flashback. Wipe the boogers out of your eyes and see it for what it is. It was a neocon job. It was a neocon job. So, in the opening sequence, we're going to see the Twin Towers. And we're going to be viewing them from high up in the sky. And the towers will be truncated, so you just see like these two things, and you're like, who's looking at that, and where were they? And then it will pan back, and it will be Building 7, a large brick-colored 47-story tall skyscraper, and it'll pan back, and it'll come back in, and it'll be like the executives, these really stylish looking dudes. They'll just be like sitting there, and they'll be sitting there relaxed, maybe drinking coffee or Perrier, and again you'll be seeing this, the frame will be like this, and the towers will be like that. And the next thing you know, you'll see this plane come in and just bloom, bammo. And we'll pan back, and you'll see over the shoulder of the executive, well, actually, I don't know about that. Yeah, no, they'll just be chilling and maybe drinking some fucking straight up, what do you call it? Martini on the rocks. They'll be so cool because they are so cool. And then we'll flash forward a little bit, and at some point, he'll put his finger on the button, 2 red buttons, sitting there, just built practically, sitting there. Boom. And then the building will just explode and crumble through the frame, because they were sitting in Building 7 and they blew up the fucking towers. And then gotta flash forward. I don't know if we'll have 2 guys or 1 guy. Hit the other button. Boom. And then you'll see about, I don't know, 12 men leave the room. And this really fresh band called The Cops, this song called Execute will be on. It'll be a execute the executives. Execute. Yeah. Scene 1 of 911. Not coming soon to a theater anywhere near you because they're never going to publish my movie. They're never going to let me get through. It's the code. Honey, you haven't heard about the code? If you're even vaguely critical of the official narrative surrounding the war on terror, they're not going to let you publish anything. Motherfucker. Yeah. Got this back from the tree. That's the only thing that I need to know. Oh, okay. So I'm on my way to Old Hollywood. I'll be shopping the idea around. Old Hollywood is located in Carpinteria, California. It goes way back before McDonald's Hollyland came around. I'm saying that like I'm making fun of McDonald's. Back in the day, Carpinteria in the 1910s was the place for cinema. 1910s. Back then they had like vintage Rorschach cameras imported straight from Italy. And it was black and white, but it was the place to be. Before Greta Garbo, there was Susan Langley. She was like one of the first women of the California silver screens. She was gorgeous. But only on cinema. If you saw her in real life, she was hideous. It's the truth. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. So I thought a lot about how to make 911, and it's a very complicated ruse. In order to get maximum full budget picture, I'm going to have to fool every single person that I work with, which is kind of exciting. I'm going to have to infiltrate other movies and slowly piece the thing together. And right now the NSA is watching my videos, so I've had to create this entire cover so that they get bored. But this is how I'm going to do it, and I have to make contact through video because I cannot be known. How else are you going to make this movie? Oliver Stone made JFK, but that was 20 years after, 50 years, 40 years after JFK. Of course, Woody Harrelson and Martin Sheen have already demonstrated that they're willing to act in a fictional narrative about 911. I want Sean Penn to be the leading man because I hate Sean Penn and I think he's a pussy. But if he truly said that if Americans allow what's going on in Iraq to happen, then they are not worth the cum stain on the flag that they fly, then I want him for this picture. When I read in the San Francisco Chronicle that Sean Penn was willing to go to Iraq to be an investigative journalist and then left after he heard bullets whizzing by his ears, standing in the middle of Blackwater guards, I knew that he was a pussy. Just kidding, I would have left too. I don't think I would have been there. Then I think about like Patrick Bateman? No. Yeah. Who's the Batman guy? They're like, who is this kid? I'm like, I forgot his name. I don't want him to be, he could be a villain. Yeah, he could be a villain. I was never even gonna be on camera focusing this stuff, but fortunately the technology at YouTube is so cool that I can blur my face. Ha 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 ha. That's a good one. Oh man, I gotta break camera character for a second. It would be the coolest movie ever. It's just impossible to make it. And I'm like sublimating my quest for justice into a Hollywood film is just like so backup plan. It's not really what I want to do. But I'm only in a certain situation. And like, I hypothesize, yes, I'm a conspiracy theorist. It's one of my hobbies. Ever since I heard that, Michael Rockefeller supposedly died in Papua New Guinea. But there was that movie made called Welcome to the Jungle, where the theme is that he was still alive. And I always thought of him as the perfect godfather, because what better way to run an invisible elite than to fake your own death? And everybody thought you were eaten by cannibals. That's what I do. So I hypothesize that there's a Michael Rockefeller like there was a Michael Corleone. And that's basically what he's going to be like, except he's got to be in the 60s. He's got to be like 70, right? He's Nelson Rockefeller's son. So they're going to kill me for making this. So what I'll do is download this track, and it's already embedded with all kinds of stuff, so it's too late. So what I'll do is just stay off the grid. Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I can stay off the grid, kind of. And the movie's already been written. You can hire any decent screenwriter to tell the story in a standard way. It's really a standard movie of an inside job. Tone, well, you've seen Die Hard with the terrorist Simon, and I think that's too melodramatic. Too melodramatic. I mean, I want this movie to be kind of like well, let's see. How's the Golden Suicides coming along? Seriously, I heard Bret Easton Ellis wrote, and Gaspar Noé was signed on to direct one of the most amazing 9/11 truth stories about a couple. And Nancy Jo Sales wrote a piece about it. She's also written some very interesting truth-telling pieces about loose change, for example. And I'm pretty sure the last time I saw Sofia Coppola's movie, which was in 2013, the last one that just came out, said Nancy Jo Sales was connected to the project somehow as a producer or something. I could look that up. I saw it and I was like, really? So, who in the industry is willing to take this on? They'd have to transcend the system, and that would be very dangerous, I'm sure. Ever since Mark Cuban was going to try to release Loose Change in theaters and how was he stopped? Well, a propaganda campaign ensued where Bill O'Reilly was accusing Mark Cuban of being a terrorist sympathizer and stuff. And Mark Cuban said that he didn't believe in the theory, but since it was the most popular movie on the internet, as a business person, he would be remiss not to try to take advantage of the market. Which was an interesting statement. And then later, shortly thereafter, the SEC began investigating him and brought him into an insider trading frame that wasn't even really real. It's pretty obvious it was stupid. And therein lies the rub. Woody Harrelson and Martin Sheen were working on something that got stymied. So to effectively produce this movie is going to be a coup d'etat in and of itself, completely. Sure, we could go low budget, but this has to be full budget. Bitcoin. Surreptitiously invading other sets, and while the crew is not noticing, filming major scenes. Outhouse production channels can synthesize and do the special effects that are necessary to recreate. And it should be all off-grid. Principal shooting that's vague and not specifically capably recognized by spies and moles could be filmed first, and climactic and unavoidably referential scenes can be filmed last if that feels like it's what needs to be done. The movie is called 911. And I didn't even want to ever say it, but this is how it has to be done. So as soon as I upload to YouTube and put on face covering software, it's all over for me. So I'll do my little part and try to upload to a new account, download, and maybe burn the thing onto disk. That's not really going to stop them from figuring out who I am, but it might slow down the process a little bit. And fuck, that's about it. Naomi Watts is kind of old, but she could play Barbara Olson. I think you could have Barbara Olson like frantically calling from a airphone, and then either that or a satellite phone. Yeah, maybe she has a satellite phone. And you'll have hijackers playing the role. And then the next thing you know, everybody will put down their things and the plane will land. And the people will be filed off and exported somewhere. I don't think they'll be shot on sight. I think they'll be taken to Switzerland. And maybe they'll be filled in on the details later. I think that Oliver Stone's film, World Trade Center, possibly was commanded by someone else. I was not impressed. But I think it was in that movie where there was a scene of the neocons sitting there discussing world hegemony and petroleum reserves in the Middle East. And of course, again, it was slightly melodramatic. I want to reduce melodrama completely, and I want this to be so raw, so real, that there won't be any doubt after leaving it that this is what happened, approximately. 911. A 2015 release date would be amazing. And the more I say about it, the more likely I'm going to get killed.